So we're talking about Foodzilla now.
Yeah, we're in. We're talking about it.
Foodzilla,
I kind of am vibing with us just starting this podcast from like in medias res, as the professionals say, in the middle of it. And so I kind of dig that.
Yeah, I wish we had some food though right now as we talk about
You know why?
Foodzilla.
Because we had pasta. We did like a pasta TikTok thing, and now we all want pasta.
I mean, speak for yourself.
You want pasta.
Okay, I want pasta.
Oh, cannolis.
I actually make fucking great cannolis. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You ever made me cannolis?
I would gladly make you guys cannolis.
I have one of my mom's best pastas is called it's a baked tomato pasta.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of the dishes at my restaurant. It's going to be called Mom's Pasta.
Oh,
that's cool.
And it's anytime I go on a hot date, she gets
the mom's
a
pasta.
bowl of Mom's Pasta.
That's nice. That's a hot date. You know, we have something called love pasta that we ended up making in Hawaii one time when we were dead broke, my husband and I, and we were like trying to just put together some weird bolognese thing, and it has like sugar and it just has a strange amount of love in it with all these like basic ingredients with cheese and meat. And for some reason, when you stew it this particular way that we made it, almost like in the pot, it tastes freaking great. So we have this little thing called love pasta, and I've since made it on like cooking shows for Hallmark and like for Valentine's Day and stuff like that.
And it's just something you came up with.
It's something that we came up with, like, and we happened to be in Hawaii doing one of those acting class things, and it was a random time. Anyway.
Well, welcome back, guys, to Even More Stevens.
Are you guys ready to hear whatever we're going to stumble upon today?
We're talking about food because we're going to be looking at
Foodzilla, right?
Heck yeah. Great episode. Wow, great version of a Foodzilla.
That was like Jurassic Park.
That was, well, I mean, food.
It sounded like a hungry Godzilla. So Foodzilla.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was, JP's copyrighted. We don't want to get sued.
Hey, listen, we talked about making bold choices, so I support it.
That's right.
Make those bold choices.
And we had Wendy on here to kind of give some context to this episode.
Wendy Worthington played our angry cafeteria lady.
Our amazing lunch lady.
Until she gets a makeover. So basically the synopsis of it, which I think we just should get into in the beginning and then we go throughout. Foodzilla was one of those second like wave writers, Mark and Dennis. And so it was very punched up, like we said, and very kind of like a bigger world.
This one definitely had more of a feel of like what the overall tone of the show would eventually become than I felt like the last 6 for sure.
Absolutely.
That
this
really
one is this number 7, right?
This is 7.
So this is the first one that Mark and Dennis did. Yeah. So this one feels different if you guys are watching it on Disney Plus along with us. By the way, Disney Plus does not sponsor us, but if you want to Disney Plus, go ahead and do that. We would like that very much.
They just raised my subscription
Disney Plus,
fee.
why don't you subscribe and follow us? Endorse the show.
Yeah. But we do follow along in that order. Anyway, so Foodzilla was a little more, bigger in terms of the comedic like lore of it and the cutaways and the magic. It was a little more Disneyfied, I guess.
Definitely Disneyfied.
Well, what was fun to me about that show is when I was in high school, we actually had this news program called Channel 1. And Channel 1 lasted for a very short period of time, but it was basically a news program that was produced for high school kids. And so at the beginning of every school day, you'd have to watch this Channel 1 thing, which was kind of such a weird concept that you'd make kids sit there and watch news. Like it was part of
the morning announcements.
It was part of no, this was not produced by the school. This was produced by like some outside network that was creating newsworthy content for high school kids.
Oh, that's
was this stuff happening in the city you were in or in the school or?
No, it was more like world news type stuff. But it's funny because
interesting.
Yeah, really interesting because when I rewatched this episode and saw you doing like the broadcast
Wombat Report.
The Wombat Report. It made me think about Channel 1 right away.
How
and like,
funny.
But
high school again.
High school.
How did we have
live report, like live stories going on?
I know
so
that
funny.
It's like this concept of Ren being like whatever Barbie. Like they just dressed her up in every little professional or like extracurricular. You know what that movie Rushmore? You remember where he's this like quirky kid? He's this like quirky kid. You should definitely watch those. Okay. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan.
So good.
Huge Wes Anderson fan actually. And Rushmore's funny because Rushmore is this kid who's like literally in every single extracurricular, but doesn't ever go to class. So he's like failing out and they want him out of the school, but he's like literally doesn't have a world outside of the school because everything he does is extracurricular. He reminds me of Ren Stevens. And side note, I remember talking to Shia, we never really got a lot of quiet time together, even though we had like dressing rooms across from each other. But I remember asking him one time, I was like, hey man, like, what do you think about me, like as an actor? Like I was very vulnerable to him actually.
Wow.
And he was like, I think of you kind of like a Reese Witherspoon type. And at that time, Election had come out. And so she had been this very like type A character. And so I didn't know what to make of that. But I think he was dead on. Like, I think at the time, like there were some similarities in the way that I had that like intensity with like who Ren was and how they would put me in these situations. And I was like, okay, this week I'm a news reporter. Okay, let's go for it. And I thought that was a lot of fun to kind of lean into whatever trope. We've gotten questions about what trope we were doing. Yeah. And so I would just kind of lean into whatever I thought a news reporter would act like. And they would write it really well.
Well, even though it was Disneyfied, like I'm thinking about our weatherman, right? We had like a
Artie.
Yeah,
Artie the weatherman.
Yeah, the weatherman, right?
Wait, no, was he?
That was later. That wasn't this episode,
Okay,
but
he was
like
a sports guy.
Yeah, sports guy. But looking at like I don't know if you've ever seen the weather guy on morning television. It's not that far off from the Disney Channel weather guy.
Yeah,
they can be a little out there too.
Yeah,
Oh
no, but I was talking about Artie because Artie was a character that I completely forgot about.
Oh yeah.
So there was an actor who played Artie, and he had done some other stuff too. But he was a pretty good actor. He was a little overweight, but he was for his age and everything. But man, he was a character actor, and he brought it into the room.
Very big, very broad.
But you've talked about in the past how inclusive or diversified we tried to make people feel represented. And I feel like Artie was one of those characters where it's like, this is a heavyset guy that you went to school with, but he's still a part of the school. Yeah. You still know an Artie.
Everybody does.
Well, I think that's the one thing that Mark and Dennis did really well is once they came on board and started to kind of like recreate what our world looked like, it became much more colorful.
Yep. I would 100% say Foodzilla was very colorful compared to the others.
Yeah. But what the other thing I like about this episode too. So, Christy is producing a news program for the school. Sorry, not Christy.
Who has the time?
Ren.
Yeah, but who has the time?
And Lewis is eagerly trying to win a spot. Win a story on the broadcast, and finally she lets him do it, and he goes in to interview the cafeteria woman, who from there it just goes completely sideways.
Of course.
And he starts kind of like
lunch lady.
Yeah.
Do you remember the lunch lady song from Adam Sandler?
No.
What? You don't remember the lunch lady song from Adam Sandler? It's huge.
Can we hear it?
No, I don't remember it either.
No. I want to hear you sing it. Don't go to your phone.
I don't actually know it. I know he just says lunch lady. Awesome. Something about mashed potatoes and something about with your hairnet and so on. And so it just really reminds me of this character.
That's gonna be memed. Just that little clip right there. I know I'm seeing that. That's gonna be memed for sure.
Millennial fail that I don't remember that word for word.
So basically, Shia's episode with this woman goes completely sideways, and they make fun of her, and she becomes, in modern times, a meme. Yes. He turns her into a meme, basically the Foodzilla meme, and she can't take it, and she leaves the school. But the reason why I bring all this up is what I love. What happens after is, again, one of those moments that for me, not seeing the show in 20 something odd years, going back and watching the two of you guys, you really worked together on this episode a lot. There's a lot of you acting together, and I know it wasn't always.
It was hard.
It wasn't always, this great harmonious relationship between
first of all,
two of you.
I don't really know why, other than we were just young, and we had a really ambitious kid here whose home life wasn't perfect, and neither was mine. But like, he came to set as a means to like truly, that was his calling, right?
Right.
And so I just think we were very different and similar at the same time. And so I think there was this natural competitiveness with us that just couldn't not be there.
I definitely think that's part of it. And I think that for anybody, even if you're a young person, ego is a big part of this stuff, right? You can't escape that in life in general, but especially when you're on a TV show and your name is on something and your face is on something. I think the competitiveness goes beyond just being competitive as artists or actors. It's like, who is the main person of the show? Who kind of carries the weight of the show becomes a natural battle. I think that happens.
And what's interesting though is like,
did you feel it too? I'm kind of curious.
Okay, that's what my point was as like a viewer, because you got to remember I didn't come until the second season.
No, I'm talking about even then. Did you feel our animosity towards each other? Okay.
What it translated to is just that basic, brother sister rivalry dynamic,
and that's what it can.
And then as viewers like me, that's what we see there. We don't obviously we don't see all that,
and
there.
that's why the show was so iconic.
That's what it translated to.
And but I do think there were two kids there that were really unable to get past a certain point in terms of bonding. So that's why sometimes I'm a little bummed that I couldn't figure out how to get through that. But
honestly,
you can't do anything about it.
You were a kid, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it's like everybody wants to bond with their co-star, and I'm sorry, it's overrated. Like y'all are like the most fucking closest I've ever been with any of my co-stars. I'm honestly a hermit on set, because why would I want to open myself up to that if that person could be a total fucking asshole?
Good point.
Or they could be a great person, but that's a chance as an actor, especially if I'm going to be doing a series with you for like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Why would I want to take that chance instead of just having this ultimate little fantasy about this person?
Yeah, I think that's valid. Yeah. I think if that's how you maintain your professionalism on set, that's very valid, and I respect that.
Well, but I also think that's a level of maturity. If look, you want to develop relationships with people that are positive, that you're going to work with, especially for a long time. You want that. It's like, we were talking earlier about.
I also want world peace, but hey, ain't gonna.
That's what you're saying is a safer bet.
Well, but you certainly don't solve that problem by not trying.
Yeah.
Okay,
you do it your own way.
You do you, boo. Yeah. But I mean, I think that you ultimately want to have that positive relationship. It's like you and Lauren, right? The experiences are so much more real and rich and lasting when you're able to build that bond. But in this particular episode, I did see a fun bond between the two of you.
It was there, though.
It was there. And
it was really, okay, I'm really glad we're talking about this, actually, because I know that Nick and you are both dedicated to making this sort of a safe space for us to just have open dialogue. And no one's trying to rat anyone out, obviously, who's not here or whatever. But it is really lovely to unpack this, because here I have two people who have very unique perspectives on this time. And it's like, you were an adult, so you knew. Also, you were on the inside space of all this, right? And then I think I would be a little heartbroken if I knew that any of my things that I was going through was something that, as a young person, you saw and drew from. So I'm happy that you didn't. So far, I didn't traumatize him, which just makes me happy.
No, you didn't.
I don't want to be a part of that for you.
No.
Okay, but side to that, there was a love that I can't explain that I've had for Shia even after we work together. And I genuinely mean this. And so when I connect with you, Nick, it's so reassuring in that no matter what it was, that it was real. You know what I mean? And that I have a way in to access and reclaim this, right? Yeah. And so I'm so grateful. I really am so grateful. And I just love you. And I love you.
I love you.
We love you too, Christy.
Thanks, guys. But I never got to come, and people come in and out of your life, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it may be a regret of mine. I don't regret much, but I do think that I was trying to find a way to care about Shia at the time. Like when I look back at that and you see these moments with us, like you're saying, and my character gets to show him love.
Yeah.
I was actually trying to give him that energy in those moments, but when we called cut, it didn't continue. Unfortunate. Yeah. I was sad about that.
Well, and I think so. On the artist side, in a way, this is also weird for me to talk about because because at the end of the day, you were kids.
I didn't know the difference between reality.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you guys were kids, and to have this conversation, if you were two adults working in an adult world, you can have a little more like sophisticated conversation about this stuff. You can't really dig too deep when you're talking about kids do crazy shit.
I know. They're so unpredictable, right?
They're going through so many emotions. And so I think it's like, it's almost pointless to dig too deep.
I know. I guess it's just triggering because I watch it. I'm like, oh, look at me like trying
for sure. But at the same time, saying that those feelings are sometimes the longest lasting and the most impressionable, no matter what you're going through. There's things that I recall from my high school days, like even when I treated, someone badly, that still to this day
kind of thing
hurts. It hurts. Even though I was just a kid, it was like, damn, why did I make that choice? Why did I do it that way? Yeah. And if there was any one person I would like to go back and like make amends with, it's that person. At the same time, it's also why I'm so happy that I made other choices with other people, because they still remember me in that light because of that one thing where I stood up for the right reason or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Even if I were the worst person in the world, they remember me for that.
Right.
Because it was at that important time in their life, right? That very developmental time in their life. But
we talked last night at our little reunion that we had, we talked a little bit about accountability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We were talking about how you make choices and that eventually you look back at the choices and have to take accountability for the sum of those. Is that kind of what we were getting at, would you say?
Well, I mean, I just think in general, it's you lose power by not taking accountability.
So you're saying I shouldn't eat the lunch lady's carrot cake every day?
I mean, if it's bad for
was that in the show?
No, I'm trying to segue it back to Foodzilla.
He's trying to get into this. He's like, man, I'm not into this get the therapy shit going on. Well, hold on, before we go down to the carrot cake that you shouldn't eat, man. Actually, you should eat a lot of carrot cake.
What about the chili?
We're trying to get some weight on these bones over here. But what I was going to say is, like, as artists, I think one of the things that stood between the two of you is you guys were very different artist types.
Yeah.
Like it was vastly different. And it was so obvious from just from the surface level.
Yeah.
You were, again, theater trained, Broadway, very astute. And Shia, his whole thing was completely different.
Chaos. He was perfect chaos.
That's the thing that was so interesting about being on that show with that kid, was that like it was just shit, fuck, bombs everywhere.
Oh
and I'm
God, he was a mess.
yo, this kid's crazy.
He was fucking crazy.
And awesome and fun and to watch. And you couldn't,
he was joyful.
There was no controlling it, but that was what made it so unique and refreshing and fun to watch, is that it was unrefined. And the problem is the two of you were so opposite in that regard that I honestly don't think that there was, like, as actors, when you work with someone that, like one of my good friends, Tom Martin, I loved working with this guy. Loved it because we had this energy that when we got on stage together, it was bombastic. It was fire. And we knew how to get each other going, and everyone felt it. You guys never had the opportunity to connect in that way because you were so different. But now maybe that clash made it work for the roles.
It did.
Unfortunately, it just didn't work for your personal connection.
Oh man.
And so I don't think the respect was ever there for you guys. But again, it goes back to your kids.
Exactly.
What did you respect at that time? How did you even know?
I guess what you look at it like then in then we can get back to the lunch lady stuff, is that you have two kids in an adult environment. And so you have a situation where we are these critical roles, I would say next to the other members of the family, but we're these two critical roles as a protagonist, antagonist, sort of consistently enough.
Yeah.
Where it's not quite animosity, but the difference is sort of rewarded in a way. If you're a child, you're like, well, okay, he can be chaotic around set, but then I've been cast in this role where I need to be very very good and very professional, and I need to know my lines. So then you get to the point where you're like, well, he'll get away with anything on set, and he'll get away with blah blah blah. But so it's like the family dynamics
totally
end up happening,
carrying over to real life almost. Yeah,
but so you don't really know the difference. But I do. And that is is really just. It's okay.
I felt that with my sisters. My sisters always did the right thing. They were always studious. And I was the kid who never wanted to go to church. I was the kid who got kicked out of school. I was the kid.
Did your mom call you Nikki?
Oh yeah, I was Nikki.
Nikki,
I was
we
Nikki.
go to church.
And then what's crazy is coming from my family, like I never realized this. I never got confirmed. Which, I was raised Catholic.
You know who my godfather is?
Who?
Well, I have two godfathers. One is Senator Chris Dodd of Connecticut, but the other one is Sean McNamara.
Oh,
I've heard that. Yeah, I think you told me
confirmed.
that once. Yeah.
When I was confirmed, yeah.
So I never got confirmed, and I didn't realize that. But out of 9 kids, I think that by the time they got to me at number 7, I was so resistant to it.
They're tired.
They just gave up,
They're
and I'm
tired.
like, how did my parents not force me to do that? I mean, I'm not a practicing Catholic, so it doesn't really matter to me. But I know how important it is to my family. The point is, my sisters did everything right. So you guys had that dynamic together.
Yeah, it was it was dressed in an adult working environment. So that's what made it kind of like, In some ways, he was more professional than me. I'm saying. Because,
what do you mean by that?
Because honestly, I couldn't divorce myself from the moment. For me, when I was in the moment loving him as the sister, like I was in it for real. And so when they would call cut and then it would feel like that wasn't cumulative, like it wouldn't build over time. I think I was hurt.
It bothered you. It bothered you that you weren't earning his
respect.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
That's what it was.
That's wild because like after Even Stevens, it's like, okay, this is a job. I'm not here to make friends. I don't give a fuck about relationships.
After Even Stevens?
Yeah.
You're saying you didn't care about whether or not
9?
you had relationships with us or not?
Well, no, when I saw you guys every day, it's a little hard not to.
So that keychain you gave me is bullshit, is what you're saying?
Oh, no, come on, Nick. Don't get all sensitive in your feelings. No. It's different when you see somebody every day on a set like Even Stevens, you become very acquainted. Versus, on a movie or, something else, you don't feel that, closeness or attachment to.
Sure,
it's a job. Mm-hmm. And in a way, God,
a job quite like a cafeteria lady.
Quite like a cafeteria lady.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we did it.
We did it. Yes.
I'm not sure how successful that was. But.
Becomes
routine. Love awkward segues.
Where a job becomes a routine, like eating. And it's like you're forcing yourself to do these things even though I'm not hungry.
And it's really difficult when you come back to the cafeteria expecting to see someone who you've seen every day for years.
And it's like,
suddenly...
Oh God, it's
gone.
Nick again.
I know they're
He's
gone
still here.
now. You have
gone.
Those who have watched the episode know what I'm talking about.
That's what happens. Yeah, guys. So basically, she leaves, and then he feels really guilty, right? Louis feels really guilty, and then we get her back. How do we get her back?
No, you don't get her back.
How do I give her a makeover?
No. So you guys go. What happens is, she quits the job because she can't handle the pressure and kind of like the cruelty of the kids calling her Foodzilla.
Yo, middle school kids are the worst.
Oh yeah. And so then you guys track her down. You go to the house, and you find out that she's an aspiring yodeler.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't have quite the right look for it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so your solution is to give her a nice little makeover, which again is, it's really funny. Like watching these shows, I'm laughing. Like
it holds up.
The buzzsaw. I still remember the buzzsaw with
her
sparks and the toenails.
Oh my God. I remember all these things.
Yeah.
The CGI sparks.
I got to ask Wendy, did she go method for the role?
Oh yeah. She grew the toenails out and everything.
Dude, that's I mean.
Those were real toenails?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And the unibrow was also real?
We didn't have the budget for that
shit. The props team.
We were Disney. No, we didn't have the budget for that shit. She went method.
No, that was funny. And then lo and behold, she marries the
With her new glam makeover, she marries the janitor.
The janitor.
Mm-hmm. They run away to Vegas. And
there's a better word for it. What's the word?
Elopes.
Custodian.
Okay. Elopes with the custodian.
She elopes with the custodian.
PC,
Got it.
PC.
And as we discovered, that was her first on-screen kiss ever.
No, I didn't know that. She said that?
She said that. That was her first on-screen
They kiss?
Yeah, they kissed at the very end.
Oh my gosh.
When I saw that, I thought, oh wow, we got some kissing on Disney Channel.
On ES.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's hysterical. You know, she's a bigger lady.
Our show just turned PG-13.
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, they did used to have, you remember when we started the show, they didn't have any of those like kid suggestions that they used to pop up. Like then towards the end of it, I think there was a suggestion of rating. Like that would pop up.
TVY7 or 14.
Remember when they started, it was like the Wild West of programming.
Did we not have that?
Nope, not in the beginning. For sure not. For sure not. That was something that was
came later.
New development. Yeah.
I think wasn't Ren and Stimpy the reason?
Oh gosh, was it? Ren and Stimpy came before us though. That was in the 90s.
No, because it was. I believe it was Ren and Stimpy that was a reason that was on there, and they showed like a red butt. If I remember right, my memory is. I think that was it.
Okay.
They showed like the devil's butt, and like that was. Oh, the
Ren and Stimpy was wild.
Yeah, that was a wild show.
I've
kids.
actually spoken to the guy who's the voices and everything on another podcast I have because I have a million fucking podcasts.
Oh my god.
And he's wild. Oh my god, that whole show is just so good. So good. I'm glad that we worked for Disney and not Nickelodeon though. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Nickelodeon was not SAG.
Okay.
So it was not
AFTRA, right?
It was AFTRA.
Back before they joined, before
and
the
like
merger.
that means that it made like no residuals and like there was like very lax child labor laws.
They got the whip out and beat us like if we flubbed up a line.
Did you work for Nickelodeon?
I was reoccurring on Amanda's show.
Oh shit!
Oh,
You
what
didn't
show?
the Amanda show
Oh,
with
shit.
Amanda Bynes.
What was it
Oh,
like
wow.
working with Amanda Bynes?
God.
Amanda was nice, you know. Nice,
I know, man.
Nice enough,
I know.
normal
She's
girl.
gonna be at the '90s Comic Con.
I know. I saw. Good
For
for her.
folks that are in the. Is it in Hartford again this year?
I believe so. Yeah.
So you should look in if you want me to introduce you to them. Feel free, but I mean, I just don't know if we're technically a '90s show. You know, like they need a 2000s con. They actually.
2000.
Well,
Guys,
if Amanda's show was 90s, so we were.
All that was 90s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, because we were 99 into 2000, but
yeah.
mostly we were airing in 2000.
Yeah, 99
Yeah.
to 2003, right?
Yeah, I mean, we really ushered the Y2K era of programming and all the golden era. The golden age of Disney was what we were officially called. And I do think that we could end up having a cool little money-making Comic-Con for ourselves because there's just so many of us and we're all kind of now becoming more interconnected and through me, I guess, because I'm trying to get everyone's number.
I think you're going to start the
They called
2000
me.
con.
No, but they
Did
called me. The people from 90s Con, they called me and they said, could you help us invite some of these folks? And I was like, absolutely. But they did it on their own and it's killing. And now they've got Amanda Bynes going and I feel like she's resurfaced.
Well, it's great. I mean, she definitely, needs the support right now, right? Like she was in recovery for a long time, wasn't she?
Absolutely. And fashion and then getting tattoos and, whatever. But
it's really sad. It's really sad to see so many people going through this type of struggle. But then again, it's really not new anywhere right now.
anywhere, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's entertainment or not. I mean, we're going through so much. And
As a society.
as a society in this country, like, no, there's no safe place in this country right now. Everyone is exposed to some kind of like level of addiction or whatever it is. And it's tough, man. It's really tough.
Yeah. And that goes back to that choices and accountability thing that I think we can preach.
Well, and that was the point of that is that your power is in choosing those things. And even if you don't, take an accountability for whatever you can take accountability for is what gives you the power to change those things. And otherwise you're just a victim of the moment and that doesn't serve you ever. So
I'm 100%. So, but Amanda
which is great about this episode.
Oh my gosh,
too,
victim. Yes.
Because accountability because
Lewis takes accountability for ruining her life.
And actually it was one of those moments that's really great because when he realizes that they did her wrong, and he goes back to school and they start kind of saying like, oh, hey, Foodzilla. And he's like, hey guys, that's not cool.
One thing I'm thinking about now that it just
words
reminds me
hurt,
of this.
guys.
Words hurt.
Yo,
canceled.
Do y'all remember when he messes around and he's like, "Yeah, you cut my finger in the chili."
Yeah.
You remember that was an actual lawsuit at Chili's or not Wendy's?
Oh,
like
yeah.
20 years later,
the
one dude was like a med student, and he brought like a severed finger to Wendy's, and he stuck it in the chili, and then made everybody think that he got served a bowl of chili with a finger in it.
Oh my gosh, I think I do remember that.
You bring up some wild stuff. I
know
don't
he
where
wants
the
to be.
heck.
Well, he wants to be the wild card.
That has to be They had to get that idea from us. We need to sue that guy.
Absolutely.
He got that idea from us.
Let's do it. Let's sue him. Let's take the time. He's on you.
Watching you.
He's getting to the.
This has gone to some weird places, man.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I want some chili now.
You're like the weird Wikipedia. That's what this is.
Well, didn't you say do you read a lot or you listen to a lot of stuff? You said I have a lot of knowledge about random things. Was that you?
Well, I do watch a lot of Jeopardy.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's
no, my husband watches a lot of Jeopardy too. I don't. There's a Jeopardy.
Was this chili lawsuit?
Dude, Ken Jennings, he's the shit.
Ken? How's it going? I haven't watched this. I don't know. Is Ken killing it?
He was. He was in the champion for the longest time.
Oh, right? That's right. He was.
No, but he's not. Who's hosting?
Not anymore. No.
He wasn't. Oh, so Ken was a contestant that was like winning.
But he became he hosted.
No fuck.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
He was hosting.
He became the host after
of Jeopardy.
I
think Mayim Bialik was also, who has a really great podcast out there. Shout out to Bialik Breakdown. She does a mental health focused one. Cool. She played Blossom.
Oh,
in Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. And she was hosting for a while because she has like a PhD or something.
Oh, she's like brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah, really brilliant.
Brilliant. And then she went on, that's why her podcast is killing. And then she did, what was that called? Big Bang Theory. Where she was like nerdy, hot girlfriendy thing or something.
Wombat Report. I mean, this is. Do you think that we were also the proliferators of fake news too? Because this is like the first time.
You are going to stoke QAnon theories about many. I can tell. We're gonna have a demo that watches
everything. Everything has some kind of like dark, strange connection to these.
But do you know what's interesting?
I grew up on Disney Channel. I blame the internet.
I know you do.
The conspiracy thing is quite interesting because people have a lot of conspiracies out there. Are you into like murder and
not really,
conspiracies?
I don't think that's that one. I mean,
think it's funny? You just think things are funny?
I think I don't know. I'm just it's a thought. I never really saw much of that before this episode on there.
Mm-hmm. Are you into comedians? Who are your favorite comedians?
Oh, definitely. Well, dead or alive.
I don't care. Everything and everyone.
Probably maybe Robin Williams, Kennison. Obviously, Bill Burr right now is great, killing it.
Mm-hmm. Do you like Bo Burnham?
Yes, I love Bo Burnham.
Yeah. Do you know who that is?
No.
Holy shit, you need to watch Inside. So Bo Burnham was a YouTuber and he ended up, he started on YouTube.
I didn't know that.
And he was an extremely talented guy who just started on YouTube. It wasn't like, somebody who had a smile and a dream. It was like a genius, prolific, and he would make parody music videos and stuff like that. And then he was very, very popular, but then he started doing experimental films and very artistic ones. And during quarantine, he made a really popular one called Inside. And I think it's been nominated for like all sorts of Grammys and shit. And he's just like, he's the coolest dude ever because he Simpsoned a TikTok where he was like doing some sort of an SNL parody on one of his like, I don't know, shows or videos. And he was like, all I'm going to do is just sing like 2 seconds of a song to this guy. Cause he was like at some sort of a record company. And they were like, what do you mean you didn't finish the song? He's like, oh no, that's all the future is going to be. It's just 2 seconds of a song, not a full song. Mm-hmm. And so this guy is so plugged into the meaning behind digital and social media. He's actually brilliant. Please watch Inside. And if people are listening out there, as far as we're talking about conspiracies and deeper meanings.
Oh, that's not even a conspiracy theory, really.
Inside is really fantastic.
Right. This is a documentary?
Inside.
It is a documentary in that he created it while he was quarantined. And he did it over a year. And he celebrates his 30th birthday in quarantine. And it's literally like he locked himself in his garage and he's pointing different shaped lights and different like, you got to watch this, Nick. You will freak out. It's it's up your alley.
Where do you find this?
I think you can buy it. It's not probably on Apple. It's, you can just
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. It's on Netflix.
I'll say there's two films that are two things I have to see. I have to see Inside, and what was the other one with? I forget these things if I don't write them down.
No, write them down.
No, the Inside.
It's just Inside.
And
Everything
Tom
Everywhere
Hanks.
All at Once. That was another one.
Tom
Oh no,
Hanks.
The one yesterday
what
we
was that
talked
one
about.
called? A Man Named. What was the one with Tom Hanks?
Man Named Otto. Otto. Yeah.
Man Named
Okay.
Otto.
Yeah, that's what it was. I remember.
One of the other things that came up in this episode that I think is really relevant if we're talking about this
Love
stuff
that.
and the relevancy of it. The bowling thing was kind of like a big point of this one. It was like, there's the bowling Foodzilla. I don't even know what was her name besides cafeteria woman.
Mm-hmm.
Elsa Schatz.
Elsa Schatz. There you go. Bullying her, and then kind of like the student. Yeah, just that whole thing came up where making a point about that.
Yeah, like dehumanizing the adult because she was an adult. I think we see a reverence to your community around you, which was very Disney at the time, to kind of, I think like a lot of networks have these mission statements where I know that when ABC Family was called ABC Family, their mission statement was, if you're going to pitch us something, because I was pitching a lot of ideas, I think, at one time to try to parlay my career from Disney Channel to ABC Family, because I think that Disney/ABC Family really kind of did the talent at Disney Channel dirty with that. Once you were 20, you were shown the door. Yeah. Whereas they had this like synergistic like talent pool where they could literally just lift you and just say, hey, we're just going to give you a new kind of place for you to go and land. Mm-hmm. So I always kind of felt like that was kind of shitty. But at the same time, when you pitched them, they go, ABC Family wants a family. So if you're going to pitch us something, make sure it has a family mindset. And it doesn't have to look like what you think a family is. Yeah. So give us a different type of family. And so I loved that about at least the concept of what they were trying to do for the programming being more conscious. So I think too, when it came to the diversity of what we were trying to do narratively, Dennis and Mark, with this being their first elevated but also grounded kids, show, I think they did a great job. Like it's the kids are actually having to find a common ground with an adult. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that there's obviously there's that teachable moment in the whole thing. It's interesting because there was, first of all, can we make fun of each other? Can we, is it okay for us to laugh at each other and let someone kind of be the fool or be the stooge or whatever it is, right? And I think the answer is yes, especially in comedy. If we can't do that, then we're taking ourselves way too seriously.
Well, what's funny? What's left to be funny if things can't be
But what is interesting, though, is that when you look at Elsa Schatz or the one who replaced her, they're like these, we make them purposefully these unattractive people.
Unsexed was what I said.
Yeah, unsexed Wendy. People, unattractive people. Obviously, let's be real. It's part of our reality, right? Mm-hmm. But how far can we go with that and still have it be funny, or is it okay to kind of like make fun of them? Mm-hmm. What's great is you have the two kids kind of like take up the
accountability.
Yeah, they hold themselves accountable and they try to undo the wrong and
as a team too.
As a team, and they try to help this person become more likable or acceptable. And anyway,
or is it just maybe we're trying to be a little too sensitive? It's like, we look at maybe a bus driver in a movie and people freak out. How could we make the bus driver in the movie overweight? Have you seen a bus driver in real life?
Yeah.
A lot of them live pretty sedentary lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that just horrible to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's a little fucking true.
Well, and sure. it doesn't have to be. Well, first of all, it's just normal and it's human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it is. It's normal. It's human.
I think the difference is in this scene is that we're making that person kind of like the butt of the joke.
Yeah. Well, that's again a little different.
We're there's that bullying aspect, right? And obviously at the time, I don't think bullying was.
We didn't approach it.
It wasn't a huge topic back then as it is now. It's like ever since our show aired, it's definitely become way. Well, it's because, social media and everything else has blown up. So like cyberbullying is a real thing. I don't care what anyone says. It's a real thing. I don't think we're ever going to stop that. It's kind of part of human nature to do these things, whether we like it or not. I think what's important is how do you equip younger people with the ability to not be so triggered or affected by it. You know what I mean?
By bullying?
Being affected by like this cyber. Like,
what happens? Yeah,
you don't have to be consumed. You don't have to be consumed by
Yeah.
social media. You don't have to be on it so much. But if you are consumed by it, and if you are on it so much, it's going to affect you a lot more. Like one of the things I like to do, and especially with my group of friends, is I do at least 3 camping trips a year. Got to get out of here, man. You got to get away from this and our phones.
You guys went on a camping trip together, am I right?
We did.
Yeah.
We
Did you
even
have a
went
good
on.
time?
We did. I had a great time, man.
You
Getting
came out
out
for one night.
Yeah.
I was headed out on a month-long solo camping adventure, and AJ and Steven came out with me and
I
kicked it off.
laughed when I heard that you guys went together.
it was just one night.
roughing it in the woods.
Wait, did we have 2 nights or one night?
Were you on
We
the
had two
woods?
nights.
Where were you?
2
Angeles
nights.
Forest or
Well,
something?
no. So we actually
Everything was closed.
Yeah, it was really a bad start. We drove up the coast towards just past Santa Barbara, I think, or near Santa Barbara, and we were gonna like camp on the beach, but everything was booked up. So we ended up spending one night sleeping in
Like
the
a
truck.
truck stop.
Yeah, a truck stop.
Yeah, at a truck stop
And then
in the back of the truck.
And then the next night we found some place. Actually, that place we found was kind of cool.
Hey, Christy, it was a nice truck stop. I gotta tell you.
No, forget the truck stop.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, it wasn't a truck stop. It was a campground, but it was like the
overnight place.
The overfill. Like if there was no sites available, you could pull your car into this little parking lot area. But we made the most of it. But then the next night we drove to some other spot and had one more night, and then you took off with AJ. I think and went back to LA, and I continued on my trip.
On your journey.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just again going back to the bullying thing. I think it's really important now, especially with social media being so ever present in everyone's lives, that if you're constantly looking at comments and likes or so hyper focused on that, it can really affect the way you feel about yourself and your self-esteem, and you just get away from the fucking phones, man.
You like me. You really like me.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, how we doing on time?
No, actually, we're good.
But I mean, that really sums up like an actor. How many times have you heard, an actor fucking say that? Maybe not in real life, but as a parody of an actor going, at the stage, going, oh, you love me or like me, really like me, right?
Of course.
I mean, I know people like that. Hate to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Don't pay attention to the reviews ever.
Don't read the reviews.
Don't read the reviews.
Or as I think Joe Rogan says, post and drop.
5 stars, please.
Or drop, post, and what is it? Post and drop? I think it is. Drop.
No idea, but
he says something like that. And I know you sometimes listen to that. But like, I think it's one of those things where it's like you do what you got to do online and then you walk away.
By the way, guys, be sure to like, share, and subscribe us or else we don't know what to do.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
And we promise
guys.
we won't read your comments.
Thank you. I probably will. But thank you guys so much. And we'll catch you next week on the Even More Stevens podcast. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Even More Stevens podcast. For clips from our pod, go ahead and check out the Podco YouTube channel.